Party Yard out here in Phoenix, Arizona. We're out here doing a demo shoot today. So we're going to cover the type of weapon we're going to use today. I'm going to be using the Mossberg 590 Shockwave. Mossberg came out with this in 2017, which is fairly new. It's very hot on the market. I've fired different types of shotguns before, being in the military. The Benelli M4, kind of bulky, as well as the Mossberg 500. Trying to go in clearing houses in close quarters can be challenging at times, so I was waiting for them to come out with a nice compact shotgun, which this really appealed to me. Okay, some of the specifics to this is it's 26.37 inch long, okay, which is falls right up under the NFA rules. So if you modify this at all, then you're gonna be out of regulation. Okay, it's got an ambidextric safety at the top there, as well as an overhand bird grip or raptor grip, as they call it, which takes a lot of recoil shock off your wrist. It's a 6 capacity shotgun. Same thing as the 500. It's got the same body to it, same walling, so it performs just like the 500 here. So I'm going to be demonstrating this with the different type of shotgun shells. So,
and then over here, this is my Mossberg 500 ATI Scorpion. This is actually fairly new as well. I got this at a gun show. The capacity on this shotgun is 5+1. It also, unlike the 590 Shockwave, which is made for it to be compact, this also has the availability to have a stock on the end, which I just ordered and will be here next week. It's as simple as taking an Allen wrench in here, and you will take this off, and then you will place it right back on. It is just separated just before the trigger. Same thing with the safety. It's actually pretty standard on Mossbergs. And then we're going to go through a bunch of different ammunition to show you on a piece of drywall over here. The ammunition we got is Birdshot, which is your standard, any type of, kind of range ammo that you want to go take. Nothing special to it. Has 12 pellets in it. And then we're going to go into some heavy field load, which is a 1 1/8 ounce. So it's going to have a little more punch to it than Birdshot will. And then you're also going to go into your high brass, which is your 1 1/4. And then we're going to go into some Winchesters. You got your Winchester's hollow points, which these are pretty nasty. You can see the hollow point right there. And then we're going to go into some double-aught buck, which is right here as well. Again, they're both from Winchester, and we're going to go and shoot a piece of drywall right here. For this drywall, the reason why we kind of had this idea is I was watching a video recently of a gentleman, and he said that a shotgun is a terrible self-defense weapon, which I highly disagree with. For anyone that is new to shooting or just wants to know what type of self-defense weapon they want, for them to watch a video that's telling them this is a terrible self-defense weapon is kind of steering them away from a good weapon in my mind. When you're going into close quarters, the FBI said when a robbery takes place, it's about 10 feet for confrontation, which makes this a great weapon for it. You don't typically have to aim much with a shotgun, unlike a pistol. He was saying that a shotgun's going to blow through drywall like nothing and continue on and to go to someone else's house as well and potentially kill the other person. So will a pistol. A pistol will do more damage in my mind than a shotgun will. So again, we're going to go through this ammo, and then we're going to show you what's going to happen to the piece of drywall.
now also to demonstrate on that, in real life scenario, a lot of people don't think about it. Is it safe to take cover behind your walls, or where do you take cover if you have a confrontation with somebody breaking in your house that have their own weapon? So we're going to find out. We're going to test that right now, and we'll go from there. But before that, I'd like to cover the safety rules that we go by. Okay, first things first, everybody, we talk about safety in everything we do. When you're shooting, you should have some hearing protection of some sort. There's all sorts of different type. Eye protection, there's different type of eye protection as well. you know, and it ranges in prices, okay? As far as safety in the Marine Corps, we emphasize this very big, okay? Treat every weapon as if they're loaded, okay? Never assume that a weapon is not loaded. I don't care if you're a novice or you're expert at it. Always treat everything as if it's loaded, okay? Next safety rule is keep your trigger straighten off the finger until you're ready to fire, okay? Don't put your finger on the trigger. That's when the accidents happen. Never point your weapon at anything and intend to fire. Unless you're ready to fire, you're pointing at it, that's when you do so. And then keep your weapon on safe until you intend to fire. So these are the very big things as far as safety. Safety is always paramount.
Right, and to piggyback off that as well, with the trigger, you want to keep your finger on the side of the railing. Again, only fire when you want to intend to fire at a target. And then you're also going to go through something that I was taught since I was a kid, is that you have no color here, which means that you are on safe. And not every gun has this, but I would say about 90% of them do. And then when you take it off safe, you're going to have the color, a dot of red. Basically what I got taught, that means red, you're dead. It means you're off safe, you are ready to fire whenever you need to. Again, so let's go over to the target over here, and then we're going to start showing you what happens when you shoot a shotgun with different types of ammo through the wall. And we also have targets behind the wall to show how far they are going to go. And then let's just go do that.
Okay, so now I've loaded my game load first, okay, and then I have another round in it as well as for which is the heavy load. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and fire the first one. Take it off safe. I'm gonna fire the next one as well. Clear.
All right, so same thing, I'm gonna go through a birdshot and then some heavy brass. Take it off safe. And then next is the heavy brass. All right, back on safe.
Okay, so now you see here, we fired the bird shots right here. You can see all the pellets is in a tight group. We're firing it at 10 feet. Okay, it's entry here, and as well as in the back. Okay, you'll see that in just a minute. Then we also fired the high field load here, which is the same thing, tight group. It went straight through. Now, if you go to the back here, you'll see it went completely straight through the drywall. And it also has these insulation that the wall has. And then if you look at the dummy targets in the back, this one's 5 feet. You can see the damage that it's done to that. Okay, target, as well as all those pellets are nice and spread out. Okay, now you go to 12 feet. Now if you look at the 12 feet, you still have pellets. Now they're not as tight because as the further out they get, they spread out. So now you see the impact and how it's not safe to take cover behind your wall. So if everybody thinks that your wall in your house is really safe from anything, we're just proving it right here. It's not.
All right, so also some people may look at this and say this is a terrible self-defense weapon because it's blowing holes through some drywall. Well, a typical house is going to be about 10 feet apart from wall to wall. If you look at this wall, yeah, this is going to blow through my wall at my home, but as a shotgun's going to lose a ton of velocity, and you can see it right here. You can see it made a pretty nice hole over here through the second for the first target. Second target, there's not a lot of holes whatsoever. They're very tiny. If this was a second layer of drywall, I'd be very confident to say that the high field load and the birdshot would not make it through. So that is me proving the point of a shotgun is a great self-defense weapon as long as you're using from birdshot and a little higher. But if you use a hollow point slug, which is what we're going to show you, it's going to blow through these targets like they're nothing. So shotgun is a very good self-defense weapon for anybody.
All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and load heavy load, heavy brass load, okay? And so I'm gonna go ahead and load it up. I'm gonna take it off safe, and I'm gonna go ahead and fire, and we'll see what happens. From the hip. Safe.
All right. So again, on that last shot, I said that I shot some high brass. This is high brass. Last shot I shot some heavy field load. So here's your high brass. Gonna fire from the hip as well. I am off safe. All right, back on safe.
So now you can see here where the high brass entered. Pretty just basically ripped the whole drywall off and the insulation. It's a tight little group again. Once again, we're firing at 10 feet. Now if you go back here, you can see how the high brass has impacted the target here at 5 feet. Okay, and it brought with it some insulation. So yes, you're going to have some damages. Okay, and as you go back to 12 feet, it kind of dies down, but it still does damages here. Okay, now if you look at the back, it still penetrates the back here. So, you know, we talk about, like, if you're standing outside, yeah, you're gonna feel it. But if there's another drywall, yeah, it may not penetrate that at all. So you should be safe. But if you're gonna take cover right behind the wall, you're gonna take the blunt of it.
Right. So again, you can absolutely see the velocity change with these beads. So you have it blowing through the drywall while they're compact together, coming out of that barrel. They're not spreading out whatsoever. And you come out here, they spread out a little bit more, but you still have some pretty big holes coming through. But when you get back to 12 feet, you can see, yes, if this was a human, obviously he's going to be in pretty bad shape. But for another piece of drywall, nothing's going to happen to that. You can just see the velocity change visually right now.
Okay, the next demonstration we're going to do, we're going to use the Winchester rifle slug hollow points. Okay, and then we're going to use the Winchester Super X double-aught buck. Okay, so we're going to do these two and see how big of an impact or damage it does to the wall, and see how far it, as far as velocity, travels through those dummies that we have set behind it at 5 feet to 12 feet. Now keep in mind we're firing here at 10 feet.
Alright, so we're going to start off with the hollow point. Again, you can see the hollow point right there. This is absolutely going to tear through this like nothing. Hollow point's in, safety off, fire from the hip. Alright, next, this is going to be your double-aught buck. Alright, firing. Okay, back on safe, we're clear.
So now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'll go ahead and fire and load here. Okay. So it's loaded. I'm going to fire from the hip. Okay. See what happens. Safety off. Clear. I'm going to shoot the double-aught buck here. Okay. Loaded as well. Safety off. Clear. Safe.
All right.
On.
So, as you can see, this is nasty. This is your hollow points and your double-aught bucks. I mean, you even got this stuck into it. They're a nasty round. And like I said, this is going to go through that second target for sure. So again, you're coming over here. This rips through this like nothing, which is not surprising. And you come back here, and you can still see your hollow points traveling at a speed that is ridiculous. This is the difference between Birdshot and the difference between hollow point slugs and double-aught buck, which is why you should never use a hollow point or a double-aught buck for any reason for self-defense. That's what the video before, the reason why we're doing this, they showed hollow points and slugs and how they're a terrible weapon because it blows through everything. Well, I would never use a round with that type of velocity, with that type of punch, for this obvious reason. If there's a second piece of drywall right here, without a doubt, that's going to shoot through that.
Okay, that and keep in mind with that, you see the damage that it does. Okay, anybody that shoots, or expert, or even the beginners, you need to understand what type of rounds you should use, whether it be shotgun shells or 9mm rounds. You shouldn't use these type of rounds because it does a lot of damage. Okay, so you want to be able to choose what type of rounds you should use for home defense. Vice versa, keep in mind that, you know, other people are around you, that lives around you, and it's about safety here.